first entrance into technology and really the whole startup world was actually at a friend's party who lived across the street from me. He was throwing a house party, and he was telling me about a startup out in Austin, Texas that he had just joined called Trucker Path. Yeah, so I walk into this 800 square foot house on Broadway in Homewood. It's actually not even there anymore, it got torn down, but I walk in and the founder, Ivan, who's a Russian immigrant, was sitting on the floor barefoot eating a steak and potato dinner just right there in front of me. And so I sit down and he asked me kind of a couple, hey, how you doing questions, and then what I realized later was an interview. He hands me a pen and is like, sell me this pen, in his thick Russian accent. And so I droned on about some explanation that he found quite humorous and appealing. And then the next thing I know, he's using the pen to scratch out a list of stock options and salary offer right there on the table next to his steak and potatoes that are half eaten. So I picked the biggest stock option package I could with the lowest salary and decided if I was going to go in on this startup thing, then I was going to go in all the way. And so picked up my family, moved to Austin, Texas, and dove into Trucker Path. Really kind of I got my startup MBA over the course of about 12 months. Learned everything from what a product team was and how it interfaced with the customers, how to go to market, how to develop things that people are actually willing to pay for, which we didn't at the time. And then all the things that I think people hear about startups that are all the things that people hear about startups that are kind of the glamorous side. So, we had a big, beautiful mural painted on the wall. We had kombucha on tap. We had plush furniture, a ping pong table, a dartboard. All the walls were painted in whiteboard paint. I mean, it was just, we had everything that you can imagine. And it was a fun, great place to work. It was a lot of energy, but I think one of the things that I noticed first with all of the craziness and the bad things about it was just the pace that everyone moved. It was like everyone was in fast forward motion, and it's like we were all in 2x. I mean, the pace at which products got shipped. If we needed to talk to a customer, we talked to 10 customers, and we talked to them right now. And so there was just this energy that I found absolutely magnetic. And with that, there was also this realization that, unlike the businesses that I've been part of before, there was no rule book, there was no playbook. All it was an open problem set and a go figure it out mentality. And that's something I just fell in love with, was being able to solve problems with theoretically no limitations. So I've been working at Trucker Path for about a year. And I got a call from my boss back in Birmingham, and he was like, hey, I want to talk to you about an opportunity. And I was like, I really appreciate it, but I've got this fat stock option package. I'm going to own a bunch of stock. I'm going to be a millionaire. I appreciate the offer, but things are going swimmingly. And about a week later, our chief counsel walks into my office, and long story short, my options got cut by 88%. So I went from being a paper millionaire to being highly employable. So as one does, I immediately called my boss back in Birmingham, Alabama, and said, tell me a little more about that opportunity. My wife was also pregnant with our second child, and it seemed like a good time to make a more stable move a little close to family. So before we went to Texas, my wife had enrolled in nursing school to go back to school for a nursing degree. She had to drop out to go to Austin. She had to drop out again to move back, and then finally had enrolled for the third time, which was always really kind of a beautiful thing for us, because if you're in startups, it's always great to have a wife that is highly employable. So I moved back to Birmingham in 2016 to take the role at my old company at Porter, and kind of the job was to come in and kind of revamp and rebuild a lot of the partnerships and lead gen. So it was part sales, part marketing, part channel, and partnership development, which I'd done a lot of back at Trucker Path. And so it's kind of the opportunity to get into a little bit more of the weeds of the business across multiple disciplines, whereas before I had been, really focused solely on sales. And this was a chance to kind of build my repertoire of both management, relationship building, really kind of go-to-market strategy. How do you take a product and sell it in the market? Which, spoiler alert, that's helpful if you're going to start a company. And so it was really this chance to kind of hone the Swiss Army knife of tools that I was going to need to really help startups. Porter was not focused on startups per se. They were focused on small businesses. And so my work with them, while it was similar to working with startups, it's, not a lot of employees, you're figuring everything out. It is, working with small businesses is a little bit different. There is a little bit more of a blueprint, a little bit more of a playbook that you follow. And what we were was the finance piece that was part of their capital stack to enable them to start and run their business. So it was a tool in the toolbox, but especially for logistics firms, finance and capital is often the most important tool and one that they have to have. So it was kind of a masterclass in understanding what a business needs, even a small business, and how they are oriented, how the owners of the company are oriented to go find a solution to that critical problem. And so I spent about the next 5 years at Porter kind of building out that team. Absolutely loved the company, still love the whole team there. I talk to them on a fairly regular basis. It was an awesome learning experience for me. What I did know though from the beginning is that I had been bitten by the startup bug, and that was always this pull for me to go back into really high growth entrepreneurship. And so my wife at the time was going through nursing school, and we kind of made an agreement, hey, I'm not going to do anything crazy with startups again until you have a job as a nurse, and we have that safety net. And so she went through school. We had not one but two more children. So she had to pause school yet again, but the superhero that she is finished with flying colors, got a job at UAB, and that was kind of my ticket to jump back off the ledge into startup world. Yeah, so the timing of leaving Porter, going back into startups, and Julie, my wife, getting a job was, I would almost call it divine appointment. I couldn't have planned it better if I tried. All the pieces really fell in place like dominoes, which I'm so thankful for. So she got a job. I started talking to a mutual friend about a business they were working on. Lo and behold, they didn't know how they were going to go to market or how they were going to sell their product. And that's exactly what I had spent the past 6+ years doing. So the next 6 months were really taking that company, which was Vicinity. It's an investment crowdfunding platform, helping them take their platform and go out and find each side, which on one was investors and on the other side was deals. And so it was a lot of what I had done at Porter and Trucker Path, which is kind of evaluate business opportunities, but then also connect it with the capital needed in order to grow the business. So it was kind of this next iteration on my development as a leader, as an entrepreneur, as someone in the startup space, but within the context of some of the skills that I already had. And so while the startup was a totally new place and pure play finance was not my background, it was blending finance, sales, go-to-market strategy, and the speed that I'd learned back at Trucker Path. So after working with Vicinity for about 2 years, one of the companies that we raised with, which is a local company here, Delphine Carter, shout out Bulo, she gave me a call and was like, hey, I'm part of this network that I really want you to take a look at. Turns out that network was Endeavor, which is a global network. And while it is technically a nonprofit, the the people that run it and the entrepreneurs that are part of it are like the 1% of the 1%. They are the best of the best. And so I was immediately drawn to it, but also immediately felt very unqualified because I don't have an MBA. I say I got my startup MBA, but I really have a communication studies degree from a liberal arts college. So initially felt very underqualified to come in and work with these elite founders in this elite environment. But in talking to both the staff and the entrepreneurs and the board that were involved, what I found was the very practical things that I had learned at Trucker Path and then at Porter and at Vicinity were way more applicable than I'd ever imagined to helping even the best of the best entrepreneurs solve the problems that they had in their businesses. So when I first heard about Endeavor, my first response was, I'm kind of a small company startup guy. I'm not a global community, global organization kind of person. So the thought of working in a 500-person organization was kind of scary to me at first. And I think the thing that changed it for me was seeing that while it is a global network, we're in 42 markets across the we're in 42 markets across the world. The team here in Birmingham and even the Southeast is a very small, close-knit team. It's a very, we call it pay it forward mentality, where the people that have been successful are directly mentoring and investing in the local entrepreneurs. So while we have access to a global network of 2,500 entrepreneurs, 6,000 mentors and investors, the people that I'm working with day in and day out and helping and supporting are actually my neighbors right here in Birmingham, Alabama. And so the opportunity to have a local impact, but while leveraging a global network, gives you kind of the best of both the big and the small. And that's what I really fell in love with. One of the other things that I was really attracted to when I first heard about Endeavor was the group of local entrepreneurs and investors that were backing it. So I mean, you had guys like Shagan Otulana, Dave Gray, Bill Smith, Jared Weinstein. These people, the fact that they believed in this organization was enough for me to stop and say, how can I be a part of this? How can I be a part of the movement that they are creating here in Birmingham and the access that they're creating for local entrepreneurs? And I think I'd always seen and heard about these entrepreneurs, and especially within kind of the entrepreneurial startup community, they are, they're very well known. But actually sitting down with them face to face and hearing their stories and hearing about their passion, not just for entrepreneurship in general, but for Birmingham, and hearing that align with my love for Birmingham and the fact that they're genuinely incredible human beings who know how to both work hard and create massive businesses, but are also passionate about creating and fostering community within my community. That's what really kind of pushed me over the edge and made me want to join Endeavor. But that local board for me was just the starting point. I was kind of sold on Endeavor and its potential and impact just based on that group of people. But what I found is that they were just the starting point, the tip of the iceberg. They were the folks in Birmingham, but these 42 markets around the world also had a local contingent of successful investors, entrepreneurs, operators, and the entrepreneurs that we were selecting, I found this theme really quickly that they were all really nice people. And we kind of joke around that, there's like a no jerk policy, but I really found that the entrepreneurs that we select, while they're brilliant, they're genuinely nice people that care about their companies, that care about the people that work there, they care about the communities that they operate in. And seeing that over and over again as I work, not just with entrepreneurs in Birmingham, but globally as I connected with mentors and entrepreneurs, I found this theme over and over where they're very focused on the values of their organization and they're very focused on paying it forward for their local community. The other thing that was really cool was seeing that the talent that we had in Birmingham, the Endeavor entrepreneur that we had selected in 2019, which is Tony Somerville with Fleetio, we could put him, not that it's a competition, but we could put him up against any talent around the world. And so to see that level of success and that level of skill and talent right here in Birmingham has been so exciting to see that, hey, Birmingham can create world-class talent. We can support them, we can help them grow, and we can ultimately be part of their story. And that is seeing the fact that we are creating world-class entrepreneurs here in Birmingham and that they're thriving has been probably one of the most exciting things about Endeavor for me. When we started working with Tony in Fleedio back in 2019, he was just capping off his Series A, which is really his first kind of institutional capital that he had raised. And so one of the first things we did was surround him with an advisory board that helped him both evaluate this new capital, prepare for managing a board, and really set him up for success as he was already on this incredible growth trajectory. And so I think what Endeavor did is help kind of galvanize that trajectory and make sure that he hit his full potential. For entrepreneurs, their success is their own. As a network, we are a support system. We will connect dots and we will encourage and we will hopefully help those entrepreneurs see around corners. But at the end of the day, the entrepreneurs have to want it. And Tony with Fleedio wants it. And he has gone out and done incredible things because he's been able to learn and develop and continue to grow, because the Fleedio that started, as an idea back in Innovation Depot, that is now an incredibly successful tech company that employs hundreds of people. There's a lot of things that have had to change along the way and a lot of growth. And while Endeavor has been able to support that growth, ultimately, Tony is just a signal that I think to other entrepreneurs that, hey, you can build an amazing company with the right support and with the right drive right here in Birmingham. I think one of the most rewarding things about working with an entrepreneur like Tony or any of our Birmingham network is the fact that with a single phone call, I can connect them with someone that they would never have access to otherwise. And so, for a B2B SaaS company like Fleedio, it may be a public B2B SaaS company that's at, 5, 6, 1,000 employees. Being able to talk through, hey, what does your organization look like at these different stages? What do you need to change about the way you raise, a growth round versus an early round like a seed or a Series A? I think the ability for a Birmingham entrepreneur to tap into a global network, it's hard to put a value on that, because there is a very small number of people in Birmingham that have solved the challenges that need to be solved in order to grow a really, really big company. And being able to tap into people that have done it before and that can explain, this is what I did right, this is what I did wrong, here are some things that you need to be aware of. That advice and the kind of context of that advice is really invaluable. I think when I look back over the past 4 years that Endeavor has been in Birmingham, I think the thing that stands out to me is the fact that, ironically, we are a nonprofit. So all of this kind of enterprise value and creation of jobs and production of revenue, all of it is only possible because there are people that believed in the work that we're doing and believed in the entrepreneurs that we're supporting. And that's what has been one of the most rewarding things, is that we have entrepreneurs that have joined the network like Tony. We have a local board that has supported our work, both financially and through advice and mentorship and opening doors and connections. And then we have corporate partners like Alabama Power and Alltech and Blue Cross Blue Shield that have believed in the work that we do, and not just the work that we're doing, but they see us as a conduit for creating a better Birmingham. And that is what I get excited about, is people that believe in Birmingham and are willing to take a bet on this organization. So what excites me is having partners, whether it be entrepreneurs or board members or corporates, that believe in Birmingham enough to use Endeavor as a conduit to make the future way better than we've ever been. While the impact that our entrepreneurs are creating is very tangible, it's revenue, it's capital raised, it's jobs created, there's a very clear kind of economic multiplier impact that we're having on Birmingham. None of that happens without people believing in Endeavor, because Endeavor is a nonprofit. So without the support of our entrepreneurs and board and corporates, we don't get to do the work that we do. And so what inspires me is the fact that our partners believe in Birmingham and believe in entrepreneurs enough to invest in them through Endeavor so that we can create a better Birmingham.